Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Watcher of Realms video. Guys, this is going to be an important one. All of the mistakes you want to avoid as you're playing this game. I've already made a ton of them, and I want to shout out my clan, Overlook Gaming, who have come out with a bunch more. I'm also going to go through some of the kind of like comments from yesterday's video where people were calling out their mistakes as well. So I guess watch this space. I'm day 12, 13 or whatever, a couple of weeks in, and I've made a bunch of these mistakes myself. But yeah, you guys want to avoid these ones. So let's kick it off. Let's kick it off hot. Yeah, give me all the free stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's kick it off with gear and a couple of things to watch out for. So firstly, you don't really want to farm gear super early. I wasted a load of energy in low level gear raids. Yeah, and you don't really want to be doing it because you get proper crap stuff that you're just going to get rid of super early. So until you can really get yourself up to around stage 13, you probably don't want to be spending a lot of energy in gear raids. You want to be pushing further in stuff like campaign, and I'll get to that in a second. But I spent quite a lot of energy sort of farming up stage 5, stage 6. It was a complete waste because you know what? You can just buy the same level gear from your friendly dwarf here. And in fact, this dwarf is a great resource. Like, compared to other games that we've played, I'm sure, Raid Shadow Legends, the marketplace is actually really cool in this game. It upscales as you upscale, so it's always going to be a bit relevant. You know, you should be picking up things like the marksman insignias, but especially early on, just picking up gear and fodder. So the shop is actually really good in this game, and you should be using it to just kind of buy gear instead of farming gear early on. Another kind of point around gear, and this is one that I've not done yet, but I can imagine it would be pretty awful. So if you're going into sell and you're trying to do like a quick gear cleanse, you can go to your primary attributes and be like, well, I don't want any of the flat stat HP, attack, and defense, right? So you see all of these pieces here, flat attack, flat HP. Now, you're probably going to be doing this because you want to get rid of your jewelry items, okay? But actually what it does as well, and literally a few people in my clan have called this out, and bearing in mind we've got a clan of, you know, not thousands, it's quite a big number. If you go sell all on these stats, so if you literally just pick up the primary stat and then select all, clear out the items, what you're actually going to do is sell all of your weapons, and I guess it must be what, like chest plates or something? Yeah, you're going to sell all of it. You're not just going to sell your jewelry items. And as I say, a number of people in my clan have done this. They just wiped their gear out and had to start again. So it's a massive watch out. I guess up here, yeah, you can select the slots. So make sure you select the slots if you're going to do a mass sell rather than just hitting the primary stats. And just the last one on gear for me, I'm not that experienced with gear yet, but quick equip is basically quick trash. Yeah, they're going to put stuff on you which isn't even relevant to your champion. It's not a good system right now, so you want to just massively avoid the quick equip stuff. So let's go into a couple of champions that I've actually geared with my eyes, not like Ajax here. So someone like Vortex, I used my own brain to try and equip something which I thought would be okay. I'm not saying I've geared them well, but basically what you want to make sure with your champions is that you understand what their skills scale with. So I made a mistake early on just thinking, oh, okay, he scales with attack because it says basic attack. It's very noobish, I'll be honest. Like, now that I know the real way to do it, but you can click on the skills and it just say, what are you looking for in terms of scaling? So this is an HP-based champion. That's how his healing is going to scale versus someone like a Lightlock here who's actually got attack-based scaling for their healing. Yeah, so I guess one of the other call-outs is early on, it seems like crit capping versus going high attack is not really the way. It's quite hard to get a lot of crit. So it seems like most people build their damage dealers to have high attack rather than massive crit early on. But that changes, I guess, as you get better gear stuff. Let's stay on the champion page for a second, because one of the other things which people are calling out to me is using your, not so much your dust, albeit dust is important, but using epic skill crystals. Make sure it's going to be on an epic you absolutely are going to keep, because these are fairly rare. And even more so, have I got any good to go? Probably not. Legendary skill crystals are very hard to come by. Like, they're pretty damn rare in this game, and you don't just want to be throwing them out on champions willy-nilly if you're not sure if you're going to be keeping up with them. We got a call out here from Steve Myers yesterday. The absolute biggest mistake I made was I spent almost an entire day's auto fights and stamina without having the experience boost on. So really just didn't maximize what I got out of the energy and expense. So yeah, it's a good shout out. So basically, a couple of things on this. Firstly, you want to be waiting until you get to at least chapter 7 really to start farming hard on experience. Ideally though, chapter 8 is just way better use of your resources. And it's not super hard to get to. Certainly chapter 7 is very doable quite early on. Chapter 8 is a bit tougher. Like the end of chapter 7 is actually quite tough. But yeah, chapter 7 is probably the first point really where you want to be stopping and farming experience. And I will be honest, again, early on, I was farming right back here, like chapter 4, just like wasting a whole day's worth of stamina pretty much to try and gain experience pots. It's totally the wrong thing to do. You obviously need to get some levels into your champions. Don't get me wrong. Your heroes need to be leveled, but don't like spend days and pots and stuff like that of experience here. Farm the campaign and get yourself a bit higher. And when you get to the point where you do want to start farming the experience, like stage 7 or 8, make sure the experience bonus is on. There's a couple of ways that you can do this. Again, I made a mistake on this one. I bought it from the wrong place, but heavily trolled from it on my video, which is fine. Go to the arena shop and pick up the experience boost here. Better to do it here than to buy it with diamonds. Somehow I bought it with diamonds. Maybe it's in here somewhere. Not sure. But anyway, I bought it with diamonds from somewhere, some form of shop. And yeah, that's not where you want to be picking it up. You want to be picking it up with your arena boosts. And I guess a similar thing, honestly, with gold. So I've just unlocked in hard campaign gold farming. I guess looking at other chapters, they're probably going to be higher rates of gold farming somewhere else. You definitely want to make sure that you've got your gold boost on rather than going in without it, because ultimately it's basically just going to double up the gold that you're picking up, which is what you want. The other thing with both of these, like basically any of the experience boosts or the gold boosts, they go on for just 24 hours. It's not a long time. So what you want to do is just stack up stamina for that purpose and be like, right, today we're just going to do a massive gold splurge or experience splurge and get it all done. And I guess when you're using them, try and make sure that it makes some sense, because you do want to be having some sort of, you know, just efficiency of using it. I don't know if my one has finished already, because I've been doing, I think it's just finished, yeah, but basically there was a, what's it called? Level up. Yeah, this one here, Corridor of Glory. Maybe that happens once a week, potentially, but I just finished one and I maxed it out with my experience. So I saved all of my experience up, waited for the Corridor of Glory, and then I splurged at that point. And I guess you basically want to be doing the same thing in terms of enhancing gear with Tales of the Smith running. So this is where you want to be upgrading gear if you want to do it. I will say as well, with the Corridor of Glory, it's not just leveling, it's also starring up, promoting heroes. So you kind of want to save that bulk of activity for when these are going on, because you do get legendary steel crystals out of this. And that's pretty much where I've picked up most of mine so far. So when we talk about summons here, you do want to save summons for summoning events. Very early on, you definitely want to be using your summons and getting yourself some heroes. Like, there's no point in not using them. In fact, one of the bits of feedback I had from Clan was, if somebody just held their summons, you're guaranteed a legendary with your first 70 summons here that are these rare summoning crystals. So you're guaranteed a legendary in your first 70 that you do. But ideally, you want to save summons for a weekend. There's always, over the weekends, summon events. Like this one here coming up, you got a 10 times on certain heroes. It basically goes 10 times on certain heroes if you want specific ones, and then 2 times chance to improve your chance to get legendaries the weekend after. And they've done, just recently, they did a like 1+1 legendary hit event as well. So there is definitely events that you want to summon for, but early game, I would say don't be too kind of like savvy around your summoning crystals. Get yourself some heroes to work with. Even use your diamonds to get yourself some heroes to work with, you know, in the first like 3 or so weeks. Get a better roster so you can actually get yourself through different levels of content. Let's go for another one from the video yesterday. This one's a bit of a clanger, honestly. What's this? Iroc Psycho. Biggest mistake was thinking Komet was bad when I first started and sold him for coins. Wow, that's a shocker, honestly. So Firstly, I would advise never sell a legendary for coins. Yeah, so you can sell heroes here. Pretty much the only time you want to be selling anything is if you've got dupes and you've already fully awakened that champion, certainly for epics and for legendaries. Yeah, the awakenings generally are very strong. You also never know when a weaker legendary or epic are going to get buffed. So I would advise just wait until you've got them fully awakened before you even consider selling them in the shop. That's my view anyway. The rares you can sell, and actually I would advise selling for diamonds rather than just kind of like hoarding, and rather than awakening, honestly. There's not that many rares you're going to use. But watch out. I've got an example here for lords, because lords are really important in this game. They give you stat boosts for your teams, even if you're not running the lord. So again, I've made this mistake already. I've just like, yeah, sell them all. Let's go. Keep the lords. Yeah, the lords should not be sold. And also there's a couple of rares that might be used. So this dude here, I don't know what his name is. He's got this kind of like face mask thing on. Kook here is another one that you want to be watching out for. Bolter's early game is pretty solid. There might be others. I'm not sure. I need to dive into the rares, honestly. But watch out for lords because you will be using them in certain content for their ability. And let's talk lords because I've made this mistake already. And yeah, it was a bit of a clanger, honestly. But, you know, it's on me. I did it wrong. So what I was doing when I realized that I could just use 2 bars. This is another thing I didn't realize, by the way. I saw the kind of like 2 bars of heroes pop up. And I thought, well, I can only really use the first 5. I thought this is a second team slot. I didn't realize it was like just bring 10 heroes. But it took me a little while to work that out. Anyway, I was just throwing in my heroes like this, thinking, that's cool. My lord's in the mix. I've got my lord bonus. No, the champions or the heroes for that lord need to be sitting in that lord's team. So, you know, these 3 now will start to activate this. It wouldn't work if I didn't do that. This is the only hero, I believe, that can basically pretends it's part of any faction that exists. That's why it's got this like infinity logo. And again, you can pull this in as an extra hero for this lordship. And yeah, if I wanted to bring in 5th one, bam. Suddenly I've got 5 for that faction, all with the same. But I was not doing that before. I was just throwing in heroes thinking that it was working. So it doesn't work. But yeah, you don't even need to, and this is something which I didn't realize as well, you don't even need to put the lord down. As long as you put down enough of the units to activate the bonus, as long as he's on your roster, you will get that lord bonus, which is quite cool. Yeah, if we go into a fight, there's something else which I'm going to call out quickly as well. Again, I was just doing it wrong. So my healer position, let's just get a unit down quick. Oh, that's a big old spider. So my healer position doesn't need to face any units, like any enemy units. All my healer needs to do is cover as many of my team as possible. My healer will never attack the enemy. So you're basically looking for your healer to cover as many of the slots you're going to try and fill as possible. Yeah, and he needs to face your team as much as possible. It sounds like an obvious one. I don't know if I necessarily did it as a mistake, but it's definitely a watch out. Like, he is never going to try and attack the units. One kind of call out I would say, just because I've got it active on my team, is that nightmare units are extremely cool because they stack even when the nightmare units don't remain on the board. So I can go 1, 2, 3. See the way I get plus 20%. I could recall this dude, and I've still got the 3 unit bonus active right now, and I throw a 4th one down. And see that, 35%. So it's behaving as though I've got 4 units on the board. I think this is only for Nightmare Lords, by the way. But it's behaving as though I've got all of the units on the board, even though I do not. Which, again, is very cool. Just slay these. So, yeah, placement of units is important. And placement of healers is important as well. And obviously, you know, throwing out ults at the right time, all that sort of stuff is going to be the difference between you being, I guess, a noob at this game and you kind of progressing on to higher levels. So another call out here. This is from Zyfu. Going for sets over stats with 0 to 30% crit rate. I see a lot of people doing this and people in my guild as well. So the point here is make sure that the stats on your items, especially early on, are good stats for your hero rather than going for the set bonus. Yeah, and this is actually often the case in this type of game. Like gearing tends to be super important. And early game, I probably still got heroes. In fact, I do. I know I do, because I've not changed gearing on a bunch of people. Like, I will have heroes that I've just got completely useless pieces on, like this one, yeah? This is useless. I should re-gear here, but kind of what I'm doing is I'm waiting to do a whole bunch of gear raid before I start re-gearing people. So I don't want to waste my gold. Versus this one, who I actually put some thought into gearing, and I was kind of looking for... Okay, this is an example, actually. I've probably done exactly what this call out says. Don't go for the set bonus, which I've done, because these two stats here are kind of useless. But I went for the set bonus to get myself more crit rate, mainly because I rolled a good crit damage roll here. Yeah, but my jewelry, you'll see, I kind of tried to get some attack speed. I don't know. It's probably still a bad build, honestly, but attack speed again. So I was looking for stats, certainly in the jewelry pieces, instead of sets. I've got no set bonus here, but this was a great piece. Or it feels like a great piece to me anyway. Cue the comments down below. That's a horrendous piece. But it felt like a good piece to me. Yeah, we got another one here. Ivan, I thought I had loads of gold with 10 mil. Thinking that's crazy how much gold you get. And then I got to red gear, barely a drop of gold left. Yeah, I wouldn't just go and roll up everything you get. Make sure that when you kind of get to the point where you're looking at gear pieces, that you only really roll pieces that make any sense. Yeah, so this one, useless, yeah. Basically what we're looking for is the main stat bonus that reflects a good substat group that is also on a decent set when you start properly farming gear and looking for like pieces you're going to keep. If you're not going to keep pieces, I would say it's kind of, well, I don't know, it's weak to put your gold into stuff that you're not going to take into endgame. Yeah, so leveling stuff up to 16, if it's a crap piece, it's just not worth it. You'll see here on this piece, I don't know, maybe this would be a good enough piece. I actually don't know yet, but it feels like the substats are not great for the type of hero that I'm going to use. Good call out here. Comes back to something I've said already, but one die under the sky. Every day, refresh the market as many times as is sufficient to do so. It's a great mine for tons of cheap energy and consumables. So yeah, again, early on I wasn't doing that. The last few days I have been doing that. Let's see if there's anything else. I think that's probably the last one. So thank you for everyone who was kind of like commenting and giving their feedback. That's it. Don't make these mistakes. I've been Hell Hades. Sub to the channel if you like my content. I will be doing daily Watcher of Realms videos as much as I can. I'll see you soon.